Yesterday, we heard another sensational news about the health of Xi Jinping, the authoritarian leader of China. So far, this information is not as serious as the news about Joe Biden's health. For Biden, we have official confirmation of his health. As for the information about the Chinese leader's stroke, the source of this information was Chinese human rights activist Дженніфер Цзен. It is clear that the global media have picked up on this news, and in fact, it is already circulating in the information space. According to the report, at the third plenary session of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping had a stroke, but there is little official information about the Chinese leader's condition, and the Chinese government has not yet commented on this event or the likelihood of a stroke or deterioration in his health. In authoritarian regimes, it is generally customary for any deterioration in the health of leaders to be carefully concealed. This is true of Putin and Stalin, as well as Xi Jinping. However, in the case of Xi Jinping, there are some questions as to whether there have actually been negative changes in his health. In particular, in the context of China and its politics. China's latest statements on Ukraine and the global security situation, relations with the United States. We will discuss this further with our guest, Artur Kharitonov, president of the Liberal Democratic League of Ukraine and an expert on the politics of the Far East. Artur, good morning. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Morning. Can we seriously discuss Xi Jinping's health, whether he is really having a stroke? It is clear that headlines look impressive and attract the attention of a large audience. But what do we know for sure today? We don't know anything for sure. It's important to be realistic about what these Chinese informants are reporting. We know that Дженніфер Цзен belongs to a group that defends the victims of the Falun Gong movement, people who were victims of forced organ harvesting by the Chinese Communist Party. But sometimes they only repost what appears deep in the Chinese internet, so there is no confirmation or sensational news that would be supported by the global community. Here we are waiting, because perhaps in the future there will be confirmation of Xi Jinping's deteriorating health, and only then will we be able to determine its potential impact on his political status. Yes, his political position will remain unshakable. Even if he recovers, he will continue to influence key decisions in China. It's hard to say because there are different reports about his health condition, and in general they point to his poor situation and weakness. But this is all information that appears on social media. So it all depends on the real state of his health, which we know nothing about, and the lack of real information about it. If he can retain his consciousness, it is obvious that he will retain his influence. On the other hand, the gossip that he has brain problems is not credible. Therefore, we should focus on the facts, especially today, when the links from the third plenary session are due to take place. The fact that it takes place in an extremely closed regime has given rise to all this information that he allegedly fell during the third plenary session and did not move. 2 days ago, China and Russia began military exercises in the Pacific Ocean. This is not the first joint exercise between the two countries. This time they are taking place in the South China Sea, near Guangdong province in southern China, and include fleet exercises. Russia is having problems with its navy in the Black Sea region, but on other fronts, it is actively creating the appearance of activity by conducting exercises with its major foreign partners. These exercises started just a few days after the NATO summit in Washington and are still going on. Whether these maneuvers are different from previous similar activities by Russia and China is a question that remains relevant. Do they pose any threat to the countries of this region? There is no question whether any of China's exercises are aimed at expansion or war. Russia's naval capabilities shouldn't be underestimated, especially in coordination with China. Reports from the U.S. National Intelligence Service indicate Russia's potential involvement in Taiwan's conflict, corroborated by Taiwanese sources. This underscores the need to monitor Russia and China's actions in the region closely.
Відпрацьовуються операції спільні китайсько-російські. Тут загалом треба подивитися на комплекс дій Росії і Китаю в регіоні.
In 2023, Russia and China conducted more than 120 military maneuvers around Japan. The Russians periodically participate in military exercises with China, covering the territories around South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines. The current exercises very clearly show the direction in which Russia is supporting China. South Korea, Taiwan, and the Philippines are countries where Russia and China have been conducting exercises, and Chinese propaganda claims that they are defending democracy there. In these exercises, one of the key exercises was practicing the sinking of a U.S. submarine, which demonstrates the importance of submarines in defense in the Indo-Pacific region. Russia and China are definitely involved in military operations aimed at defending Taiwan and the Philippines. They are practicing sinking American submarines. According to U.S. experts, the Russians are passing on to the Chinese their best practices that were learned during the Soviet era, particularly in the area of studying the U.S. submarine fleet. Increased interoperability for joint maneuvers and operations reflects the readiness of Russia and China for a possible war. This is a major trend that we talk about a lot, given that the security of the Euro-Atlantic and the Indo-Pacific are closely linked. For us, as well as for Europe, the proximity of Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan is key, and only one country is divided, which may not be a true union.